welcome to the SORT Leading an Organization training. My name is Courtney Laukitis. I'm the Program Manager to Student Organizations in the Office of Student Involvement and Leadership. This training is one of the requirements for presidents to complete as a part of the SORT training requirements in order to become an active student organization on campus. Before we get started, I want to go over some housekeeping items. The first thing is that you will have to obtain an 80% or better to pass in this training. If you don't obtain that grade, that's okay. I'll send you an email or send you a note through the form submitted on Engage and indicate to you that you need to retake the training. But I promise there'll be plenty of time to complete that and we'll get that squared away for you. Speaking of the Engage form, you'll want to have that close by. You'll use this form as a way to answer questions, and that will count for your attendance. So whether you choose to listen or watch the presentation as you're filling that out, be sure to keep that Engage form nearby so that you can complete those questions. Because this is a pre-recorded video, you can start, stop, rewind, or fast forward at any time. And because this video is included with the Engage form, you can also start and stop your Engage form at any time. If you do choose to do that, your form will be housed through your profile on Engage. And if you need help navigating that, please send me an email and I can help you navigate that to get the form started again. So let's go ahead and get started. For an overview of this presentation, we're going to talk a little bit about leadership, and leadership is meant to be a very broad statement, but we want to talk about leadership from the perspective of a president position. We'll also talk about the importance of your constitution, membership, meetings, events, collecting data, and utilizing resources. So leadership, again, leadership is a huge umbrella term. It's something that we use very fluidly in our office and in our experiences. But I want to empower you to consider your leadership that you are bringing to the table, whether you think about that now or you think about that a little bit later into the academic year as you start to pick up some responsibilities and tasks within your role. So knowing things like your strengths and your weaknesses. What are things that you're really good at doing, and what are some areas of growth that you could be focusing on? And also, how can you share some of those strengths and weaknesses with your team and with your members as well? I also would recommend that you take the opportunity to learn who your officers and members are. One of my favorite quotes ever is from The Blind Side. Whenever Sandra Bullock's character says, "Learn to know your players, Bert," and I think it's one of the most powerful things that anybody can ever say. Knowing who you're serving, who you're teamed up against, or teamed up with in terms of achieving your goals and setting the bar high and doing some great events and doing some great opportunities for everybody's leadership involved is just taking a really great opportunity to learn who everybody is. And we have some resources that we can help you out with there as well. Conflict management is probably going to happen. There is a 99.9% chance that at some point in the academic year or within your officer term that you are going to have some conflict management. That is totally fine. It is totally normal. Don't worry about it, but just how would you want to manage that conflict? How do you foresee using some resources that our office might have, or some mediation tools that we might be able to provide for you? And just being aware that conflict is normal and conflict is bound to happen. So just being kind of prepared for some of those areas of challenging times that may arise. Advocating for a point of view is a really important thing. So each of your student organizations advocates for a point of view at one point or another. So what are you advocating for this year? Are you advocating for a certain type of event? Are you advocating for funding? Are you advocating for maybe rights that are happening within our local and federal laws? Are you, what are you working towards? What are you advocating for? This is also a competency that we will be focusing on throughout the academic year, and being able to, successfully advocate for a point of view and make change is a really big accomplishment, and we want to share those experiences with you. One thing about leadership is the phrase of leading by example. And so if you want your members to be on time because you want to start your meeting on time, then you might want to show good examples of time management and be there on time. If you want to, have everything prepared ahead of time and, focus on achieving your goals and whatnot, then I would encourage you to also lead by example at that point. And then the last thing here, just in terms of leadership, is I want you to think about opportunities where you can encourage engagement and involvement from your members. So this isn't just about, about you providing engagement and involvement within your own organization, but what are some opportunities that you might all be able to experience as an organization in supporting other events that happen on campus, and how can you, share some of that institutional knowledge that you have about different events that happen on campus? How can you share that with your new members or some of your members that may have not ever experienced a certain event or a certain culture on campus? How can you encourage that involvement for your members in terms of like a retention and recruitment standpoint? So your Constitution is one of the most important documents that could ever be a part of your organization. So I would encourage you to review your Constitution because it is a legal and binding contract between you and your organization as a whole, and it is an opportunity for you to understand how to run business, some of the positions or committees that might need to be filled throughout the year. Maybe your advisor is responsible for something that you might need to tell them about. So reviewing your Constitution is one of the first things that you should be doing whenever you get started into your officer term. Again, with positions here, you'll see that you typically have, president, vice, secretary, and a treasurer. But what if you have a social media marketing chair position, or if you have a certain committee that you need to be aware of? It also helps with understanding your voting processes and your decision-making processes. So if you have to vote on a certain kind of committee or on a certain position, you'll want to know that information as well. Your Constitution will also outline a general time or a general understanding of when you'll have meetings, if you'll be collecting dues, and if you need to have elections or a special election at any point. If you feel like your Constitution needs to be updated, our office can help you with that. And there is a form on Engage that you can submit, and we will help you. Either myself or one of our involvement mentors can help you with that process. So just know that there is support. It might need to be updated. It's totally fine if it needs to be updated, but we'll just help you through that process. Moving on to membership. Membership is super, super important. One of the first things that you should be doing once you've attended Do the U, Fall Fest, or any other student involvement and leadership student org fair or anything like that, add your new members to your roster on Engage. You will remember from, or maybe you've heard already from, the Intro to Student Organization training, that there will be a roster requirement, and so we will be asking everyone to upload your roster to an Engage form. And as you continue to invite new members and gain new members, we want you to update your roster on Engage to include those members as well. Membership is also important for recruitment and retention. So recruitment options that you have to gain new members would be to hold tablings that you can schedule on Engage, to hold any kind of open forum or meeting or social event that just allows people to kind of come in and observe your organization and embrace maybe a more laid-back social event that is very low level for everyone to experience. But those are just some good examples of what recruitment can look like for you. In terms of retention, one of the best ways that you can retain your members is to delegate responsibilities. So if you have a big upcoming event, making sure that one person is overseeing the marketing, one person is overseeing the food order, one person is overseeing the logistics with event services, whatever it might need to entail, make sure you're delegating those responsibilities. So one, it takes a load off of your work as president, but also it allows responsibility of that member or of that committee person to have some teeth in the game, and to have some, to feel like they're a part of the process and a part of helping that out. One other thing you can do for retention is change things up. And instead of having, strict guided meetings every single week. Maybe you need to cancel a meeting and go play flashlight tag, or maybe you should go play cornhole, or reserve the rec commons and do that instead of your meeting, and just have the opportunity to have fun. College and student organizations is supposed to be fun. And so if you're not enjoying what you're doing, you're probably not going to continue to do it. And if you as a president feel like you're kind of in a rut, or you're not super motivated, take time to reflect on that and change up how you're doing your business to encourage that retention within your own organization. And lastly, a great opportunity is to build community. There's a lot of organizations that have started to go out to dinner together after a meeting. We have the CSA organization does a taco night, and so if you wanted to attend that, or if you wanted to just go get some ice cream together, or just go do something fun where you don't have to talk about business, you don't have to talk about school, you can just join in community and get to know each other and build that opportunity to have that community together. Next, we'll talk about meetings. And so one thing I want you to think about is, what type of meetings do you want or need to have? So does this mean that your organization meets weekly or bi-weekly? Do you need to have a separate meeting for your executive board meetings? Or would it make sense for you to even go one step further and have meetings with your advisor? That could include your e-board, or maybe just yourself and the advisor, however you want to do that. But consider the type of meetings that you're going to have and discuss that in your first couple of meetings that you have as an organization, and then you can schedule out the entire semester on Engage so that you have that built into your calendar already. Another question you might want to consider is, how will you hold meetings? So do you need to use something like Robert's Rules of Order, where you have a very structured process, or do you have more of like a discussion forum where you just kind of open up the conversation to encourage anybody to talk about ideas that they want to share, or questions that they have, or anything like that? So how will you hold your meetings is also going to determine what type of meetings you also need to have. It is highly encouraged that you create agendas, because you will want to document any decisions that are made through voting, or just any type of decision that you need to make, even on an event. So if you're not even voting on a type of event, but you all make a unanimous decision to hold a tie-dye night, or to hold a make and take night, or anything like that, you'll want to document that information. And we have some resources available to you to help guide you through creating the agendas and creating the meeting minutes as well. One thing that you'll want to do is write your meeting minutes. And so you'll need to as you make the decisions, you'll need to document that in the meeting minutes. We will also be providing more resources on how to adequately write these meeting minutes down, so that you're not writing every single word, but you're just kind of summarizing the points that you're making as you go. And then lastly, as you have your meetings, you'll want to track attendance through Engage. That's one way that you can hold people accountable to the retention and recruitment of your event and of your organization, and then also making sure that they're on the roster and that you're tracking their attendance for their participation. Events. Events is a huge thing that our student organizations are responsible for, and that our student organizations participate in. So if you're going to be hosting events throughout the academic year, be sure to plan ahead. There's nothing better than ensuring that you have your entire calendar done for the academic year, or even for the semester, within the first couple of weeks of school. So take the time to plan ahead, make sure you're submitting your events on Engage, and be sure to remember that all events, gatherings, meetings, activities, anything that you are doing as a organized student organization, on or off campus, virtual or in person, all of that needs to be submitted on Engage. Of course, as we've already talked about with some of the retention pieces, delegation in bigger events where you might create committees or give updates at meetings on the progress of some of those bigger events. Be sure that you're utilizing the community that's in front of you, and that you're utilizing the talents and interests that people have within your organization. You'll also want to be creating marketing materials, so don't forget that there's opportunities like Canva to use, or if you're really fancy and want to use Adobe Photoshop or anything like that, or Illustrator, you can always use those avenues as well, and create some great marketing materials to get the word out, and share that on flyers or even on social media as well. Be sure to remember that you cannot market for your events until your events are approved on Engage. So that's another great incentive that if you want to start marketing early, you need to start planning early. And lastly, make sure that you're communicating effectively on the needs, visions, and challenges with the organizations or the campus service providers and supporters. So what that means is if you need to make changes to the event after it's approved on Engage, make sure that you are communicating that ahead of time to share that information so that we aren't scrambling at the end, so that you feel confident in your event planning skills, and just making sure that the process goes smoothly for you. So if there's something that your organization members aren't doing, or maybe your committee members aren't doing, or that somebody missed within the layout or catering or anything like that, utilizing your communication skills will really help you achieve those goals. Collecting data. So this is a new thought, and it's just a little bug that I want to put into your ear about this. But I want to remind you that there are great ways that we, as a community of student organizations and of involved members and involved leaders, we have a great opportunity to collect some strong data on what you are doing for the campus community, but also what your interests are. So utilizing tools like the tracking attendance, where you are tracking attendance on Engage through 6 different options, which includes like a card swipe, a QR code, the text entry, a file upload, or the event check-in app, and in the invite process. There's a plethora of ways that you can track attendance, and we will be honing in on some of these updates and some of these different tools that Engage has within the next academic year, to really encourage you to track your attendance. It's all very seamless. It's all very simple. We just got to take it to the next step and really teach you. The one thing that I do want to point out is that there is a new event pass through the Cork app. So if you don't have the Cork app, I encourage you to download it. It's spelled CORQ, and you can go to your phone's app store and download that and sign into Wright State with your W number, and there will be a QR code that is specific to your profile on Engage, and you will use that to scan into events. It's kind of like a mobile boarding, a mobile boarding pass for planes, and you can use that to check into events and also scan other people in. Another app that you can download is called the Event Check-in app, and so if you just type in Event Check-in app, there'll be an app that comes up for campus labs. That's the one that you'll want to download. There's a resource available here at the bottom of your form if you want to download some of that information. But that will be a great way for you to scan the QR codes into the events so that you can track attendance. And again, just collecting more data, updating rosters to track membership. So Engage does track membership for whenever you join and end your membership within a student organization. It also tracks the positions that you hold. And so just being able to collect the data so that you have a good co-curricular transcript at the end of your time at Wright State, we can use some of that data and use the Engage platform. Again, this is a lot of information, and I know some of this might be new to you, so don't be afraid about all the information that we're providing. We will be updating you throughout the summer and again into the academic year with tools and resources and videos and all the good stuff. So just know that some of those support systems are coming. And then lastly, utilizing resource. So don't forget to utilize resources like the Student Involvement and Leadership Instagram and Twitter page. We also have a SORT Instagram page if you want to use that. That's where we'll be sharing a lot of our updated resources and just highlights of different things and utilizing different tools that are on Engage. So be sure to check out that information. We also utilize a newsletter that we send out via email, and then we also send out news posts from SIL, and then I also send out stuff through SORT, so just be on the lookout. The news post is housed within Engage, and then the newsletter will be sent to your email, so you can always opt into that if you want to check out some of that information. visiting the SIL office to ask questions and just share some of your concerns or ask for points of clarification is always welcome. We are in the student union, and we're happy to help in any way that we can. So if you want to send us an email at sil@right.edu to schedule an appointment, or if you just want to pop in, you're always more than welcome to do that. And then lastly, if as we plan our academic year out and we start hosting more events and experiences that are hosted by our office and supported by our office, we encourage you to get involved. And so however that might mean, if you want to collaborate with us, or if you want to just attend as a student, whatever you want to do, just know that there are great opportunities to get involved and to experience things with SIL and the staff of SIL. All right, so that leads us to the end here. So thank you so much for your participation and for listening. Here's my contact information. It's also available on your form. So if you ever have any questions, you could always email me at courtney.laukitis@right.edu or at sort@right.edu. And then on your form, before you end this video too fast, be sure to click the blue submit button on the final page, and that will count for your attendance. I hope you have a great day, and if you have any questions, be sure to reach out to us, and we'll talk to you soon. Have a good day. Bye-bye.